Welcome back to Theoretical Nonsense. Today we're going to be discussing Season 5, Episode 11, The Speckerman Recurrence. And on today's episode, we are talking honorary members of the Harlem Globetrotters, the Newcomb Medal, trespassing in California, and how fashion is destroying our environment. Stay tuned. Welcome to Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required.
We're the podcast that recaps all the episodes of The Big Bang Theory. No spoilers.
So hop into your favorite spot,
Make yourself a grasshopper,
and enjoy the ride. Ahoy there, Ryan.
Ahoy, Rob!
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic because we just watched the Speckerman Recurrence. No,
oh, yeah.
Recurrence. I said Recurrence.
Somewhere I saw it called the Speckerman Theory, and I don't know where or why I saw that. Or maybe I just imagined it, but throughout it, I'm like, this isn't the right episode. It's a Speckerman Theory, and it's the Recurrence.
You know what? You're just dazed and confused because of the baby.
So. The baby, yeah. And if you're new here, I had a baby. My partner had a baby, I guess, about 2 months ago. We're on week 7, I think, and apparently, it's not called colic anymore. It's called purple crying, and purple is an acronym for periodic, unknown. I don't know. It's basically stating that we don't know why they cry, but they will cry for 5 hours straight. And if you ever want to try your sanity out to see how stable you are as a human being, listen to a baby cry louder and louder for 5 hours straight. It's woo!
I didn't realize that they renamed it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That must be really new because they were still calling it colic when I had the baby. That was 3 years ago.
Colic is still a popular term, but when we were at the pediatrician, she goes, we like to call it purple crying now. And I went home and looked it up, and it's I think they're in the stage of pushing for this reterminology. And my understanding, I could be wrong on this, is colic sounds really medical and something seriously wrong. Purple is a little bit more friendly, saying it's normal, it happens, it's tough, but your baby's not in danger from it.
Peak of crying, unexpected, resist soothing, pain-like face, long-lasting, evening.
Yeah.
Purple. Oh. Wow, they really went for that one.
Right? I'm and it's funny too because we're check, 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 check.
Well, the purple crying is the reason why I will be taking lead on this one.
Yep, the baby is a little noisy in the background, and I don't want it to kick in, so if she starts crying, I will mute my mic and let Rob's going to take over, because he's a good guy.
I do what I do.
Thank you, Rob.
All right. Well, what's your initial thoughts of this episode? The Speckerman Recurrence.
I love the guest star. The episode was okay, but after rethinking about it, rewatching it, I don't think I liked it. I had some issues with it, and we can talk about some of them, but I feel like it's kind of playing down bullying, and I felt like Speckerman had 3 character levels, and it was kind of a weird change, and blaming it all on alcohol was a little too convenient. So I was this is almost, it felt forced to me because it was a funny scenario, and it was a funny scenario. It felt a little forced, which made me kind of I don't know how much I like the episode. And again, with me liking character progression moving forward, I don't think anything really moved forward in this episode.
Yeah, I was actually just talking about this with my wife. We were at dinner and I told her about this, and she was like, oh, was it a good episode? And I was like, no, I really didn't like this one either. It was definitely filler, and it's crazy because this could have progressed the characters so much more. because it's like the confrontation of an old bully. That's kind of a really big thing, but it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like they did anything substantial with
And
it.
they, what's the word? Ended up where they began too, running away from the bully. We don't need to get there quite yet, but I feel like they reverted. There we go, reverted to their original position. And I'm like, they didn't gain anything from this episode.
No, they didn't.
And I
It
also
was
it reminds me the like was it the number one episode I think of as filler episode. It's been probably 15 years since I saw it. Was the original oh, what was it called? Not Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist. And
oh
so
yeah.
there's two series of Full Metal Alchemist. There's the original, and there's one called Brotherhood. My understanding is that the original aired and ran while the manga was still going, and so it had to have fillers to keep up with it, and it kind of diverged. And I don't think I finished it. I don't think I watched the movies. And then there was one called Brotherhood that was a newer one, and Brotherhood apparently follows the manga and is supposed to be better because it's more like concise and like just story. But I remember in the original there was like an episode where for no reason at all the brothers in Full Metal Alchemist are hunting down like an art thief. And at the end it just has the art thief running and like jumping over buildings, and I might be totally misremembering this, but that's how it is in my memory. I'm like, why the fuck did they go to this random city to hunt down an art? It's like nothing actually happened. And it reminds me of this episode because at the end they're running away. I'm like, nothing happened. It's just a circle running around in circles. So anyways, it reminded me of Brotherhood or Full Metal Alchemist, the Not Brotherhood series.
Well, I will give Leonard a little bit of credit that he did like fight back a little bit, but
Yeah.
but you're right, it didn't amount to anything.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't really any good jokes. No one really stood out. I mean, Amy had some great moments, but it's like, but that's really about it. And
Bernadette had a
otherwise,
couple funny lines as well.
but otherwise, it was kind of like all the jokes are a little lackluster. Like the storyline didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But it was a new director, and there was a new writer on the team too. So I was wondering, like, was this just them getting their footing? I guess we'll see if they come back.
Yeah, that's a good point. New director, new writer. Maybe they're giving them an episode that they're like, this is a filler episode. Do what you can with it. And again, it's not like it's a terrible episode, but it's just waiting for it to go somewhere and not full of funny jokes at all.
Yeah, let's just say this is. I would never skip an episode, but like I would pay a lot less attention during my rewatches of this one.
I can say that I caught them playing Settlers. It looked like Settlers of Catan. And it's funny because I looked it up to verify, and according to the wiki of everything I found, there's another episode where they actually directly talk about Settlers of Catan, but there's no mention that this episode had it. But it looked like Settlers of Catan to me because it had like these octagon circles. And have you ever played Settlers of Catan?
I haven't, but I remember this was around the time where it was really popular because I had a lot of friends that played it.
It's a fun game. I think it's great because it seems like it takes a lot of mental effort, and it doesn't. It's fun, it's kind of random, but it doesn't take as much as I feel like Risk takes a little bit more. Maybe it's on the same lines of Risk, but compared to something like Axis and Allies or Zombicide or Dungeons and Dragons, it's very like not so mentally taxing compared to those games, and it's colorful. I own the original, and they have like 8 different copies. They have like Space Catan, they have like Seafarers and Ocean Dwellers or something. They have a bunch of different colored boxes, but they also have a 3D version. I want to say it's like $300, but it's like all the tiles are like 3D printed, or they look 3D, so the mountains are actually mountains and the waters have ripples, and it is beautiful, and I would love to get it, but I'm like, $300, God, I don't know. But every time somebody plays it on TV, I'm like, Settlers of Catan, I know and like that game. I'm not very good at it, though.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do like more game nights. Christina and I have been talking about like having like the neighbors over and like have like while the kids are playing, we could have like a grown up game night or something like that. So
Yeah.
we've been talking about that. So maybe we'll pick it up. Maybe I'll pop into Target and just grab it.
And I feel like grown up game nights, from what I've seen so far, I mean, I'm only like 7 weeks into being a parent, so who knows? But I have friends who have kids who are a couple years old. It seems like as a parent, to do games nights in these early years, you have to have a game that's not super mentally focused because you have to get up and do stuff. And so something that you can like concentrate a little bit, then get up and then come back and refocus. But if it's something like Dungeons and Dragons, I feel like you have to devote so much of your brain power that if everybody's getting up and like taking care of kids, it's very hard to get that type of game session going. Not impossible, but tough. And I feel like Settlers of Catan is that right balance of you can come back and sit down and get up if you need to.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, before we go even further into the episode, we have a little bit of housekeeping. We have an email. We love emails, so send us a message at theoreticalnonsencepod@gmail.com. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and we will give you a shout out. And you could find us on YouTube at Theoretical Nonsense. Like and subscribe. So we actually did get some emails. So shout out to Chris with a K, who actually won our raffle, which we mentioned in the previous episode.
Congrats
or actually,
again.
it wasn't the previous episode; it was the one before that.
The special.
2 episodes.
Yeah.
That's how far ahead we're getting. So, Chris, you're finally getting your real shout outs. Thanks for submitting into the raffles, and thanks for the emails, which we're going to read right now. You actually
and for listening.
Yeah, you actually gave us like an IQ point and everything like that too. So I'm just going to quickly go through all your emails. So because they're so nice, that's why we're reading them.
That's
all.
right.
Chris says, I started listening to your podcast over a year ago and got caught up back in November. So thanks for catching up. I enjoy listening to the two of you even when you go off topic. Thank you. I do wonder about that. I really do wonder about that sometimes. I really like how you tried to make it a food cast, which brings me to your first code word, fried chicken. So, yep, we will always try to make this a food cast. Second email, hi there, Rob and Ryan. This is Chris. The second code word is zombies, and short IQ point about zombies. Zombies originated in the 17th to 18th century in West Africa. The original zombies were not flesh eaters, but soulless, mindless slaves made from a bakor, a voodoo sorcerer, by using a potion of neurotoxins like tetrodotoxin from a pufferfish to induce a coma-like state. So that's super cool, and I think we kind of talked about that too
I think we've
at some point.
Yeah, at some point in parts and pieces. And I know I've mentioned before that I know George Romero is largely responsible for having zombies that are flesh eaters, but also zombies that get killed if you shoot them in the brain. And it's I love the story because we would not know zombies today if George Romero had done a better job at copywriting his material. That he forgot to, or I don't know the whole story, or I don't know what was going on in his head, but he neglected to get his movie Night of the Living Dead copyrighted. And so when it was sent off to the public for viewing, to movie theaters, to TV, people could air it without paying him royalties. Like they could just air it whenever they wanted. And because it was aired like on, midnight movie madnesses, or when TV stations, like instead of having dead air, they could just run that for free. It became the staple of zombie life, and people knew zombies of that. So because of his little error, Night of the Living Dead became famous for how zombies are portrayed. But yeah, before that, they were really just the mindless zombies. And basically, you would give somebody this neurotoxin, they would pass out, people would think they were dead, and they'd like wake up at their funeral. And I just imagine like waking up like from a coma, and people are like, "You're a zombie now, you're a slave," and people are like, "What the hell? I just woke up. What's going on?" No, you're dead. I'm not dead. I imagine it was probably a very horrible situation to be in. But on top of that, I was going to ask, I might have asked this before, but have you ever had pufferfish?
No.
No? I wonder if... I've never seen a place that serves it in the U.S. I'm not sure if it's illegal or if it's served somewhere I've just never been. But I had it in Japan, And did I tell you about this?
I think you
Did
did
you?
that. That your mouth got a little tingly, like they may have
Yeah.
cut it wrong.
So every single piece has a little bit of neurotoxin in it, and it's just how much has it, and if they cut it wrong, how much can kill you. But every piece does make your mouth feel kind of like a Novocaine, right? So it goes kind of numb and kind of tingly. If you have too much of it, you start to feel drunk. I got to the drunk stage. We were walking around downtown, I think it was Tokyo, some part of Tokyo. I don't remember. That was part of the fun. And there was like a parade, and we're like, whoa. And my dad's like, I got the munchies. He's like, I need some Japanese cookies. And we're like, okay. And we're all like, wow. And apparently, if you get to that drunk stage, you have to be really careful because you are at the life threatening stage, and they're like, you might want to go see a doctor. And we recovered quite quickly, so I think we were absolutely fine. I've read stories of people like feeling like that and then going home and like going to sleep for like 8 hours and waking up like what just happened, and that's more problematic. But yeah, it was really delicious. It's just it's like Russian roulette with it. It's a little bit of a fun life threatening game you play with your food.
Oh man, you make me not want to try it. But I know Homer Simpson had it, which is a great segue to the third email from Chris, because Chris mentions Simpsons.
Ooh.
Did you know Bell? Because we did an IQ point about Alexander Graham Bell and how Bell tried to push for Ahoy. And I did not realize this or remember this, but that's right. Mr. Burns always says ahoy. He always says ahoy hoy every time he answers the phone.
I forgot that too,
totally,
but soon as I read that, I'm like, holy shit,
That's
you're right.
right.
That's what Burns
Oh
does.
my gosh. And then Chris goes on with another IQ point. The first phone book was only one page, containing 50 subscribers. It was issued in February 1878 in Connecticut. In 1910, it had over 7 million numbers. The original 1978 phone book was sold at auction for $140,000 in 2008. Super cool.
That is a cool, like, wow.
Yeah.
That's I have an IQ point later, but it reminds me of the IQ point I'm going to have later. So, sometimes crap like that kind of disappears and gets sold for auction later on in history.
Yeah.
So keep your garbage, I guess. I don't know what the point is.
All your crap is going to be worth something. Save
Something.
it. Become a hoarder.
Hoard it all.
Well, thanks, Chris, for all the emails. Thanks for being a great listener. And thanks for the IQ points. And you won the raffle. Congratulations again. Yep. Anything else before we dive into the episode?
Nope. One more thing off topic, tangent. Are you going to watch the new Scrubs? It's coming out like in a week, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's it going to be on?
I don't know. I was thinking Peacock, but I could be wrong. ABC. Does that stream on anything?
Maybe Hulu?
Disney Plus, Hulu. Yep.
Cool.
So,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I guess if it goes on stream. Do you think it's going to go on stream?
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm just not sure if it will go on stream immediately or if it's going to go after the season.
Yeah.
But
I'll watch it. I mean, honestly, it's getting harder and harder to it gets harder to watch things as the kid gets older. So really enjoy it now because right now we don't really get that much TV time. We get maybe twice a week at night, and that's only if he goes to bed at a reasonable time.
That's what I was talking about, the purple crying. I'm able to have TV shows off in the background, and I have to hold the baby and try to get her quiet, but I can watch TV while I'm doing that. So I've gone through a bulk of The Office. I'm on season 9 now. Yeah, mostly through that. I was telling Rob. And yeah, once she starts talking and walking, I guess that's probably not going to be a thing anymore.
She will dominate the TV. Every time we even play anything that's not his YouTube, he freaks out. Like he just gets scared. Like he just thinks it's something scary. So he'll actually have like tears in his eyes. He'll bawl his eyes out and everything like
Oh
that. And it's like,
no.
I was like, bro, come on, man. Let me just watch something. But then it's like, fine, we're just turning it off then.
Yeah, I have a friend, and I'm not going to name any names, but you know him, close friend of mine. How we met, and his daughter apparently kind of likes scary things, and he's like, I don't know how to raise her because she's like, if I sneak up on her and she goes he'll be like, oh sorry, she's like, no, do it again, like boo, like she likes it. So babies are different. He's like, that's so different from me. I don't know, I don't know how to do this, but
Yeah.
apparently they like the books I'm getting because I get her kind of scary children's books. So
It's so funny because like earlier Hunter was really into that too, but now he's not into it. But then again, some of the YouTube stuff that are like it's meant for kids, but it does have scary things. He does kind of like that.
ah,
But then
interesting.
like I think because he knows it's kind of fun and not real. But then like when we play like a movie, even like a Pixar movie, he's like, "No, too scary, too scary."
Huh. I wonder
So
what's going on that makes him think that's too scary. I'm thinking when I was a kid, probably when I was 5, I used to ride roller coasters, and I was totally fine with them. And I went on ones that would go upside down. The Ninja at Six Flags over the Midwest or whatever, or Middle America, and I was apparently like that was before they had instated the height limit, and when the height limit came out, I was too short, so like I was going on it before I could, and then after I found out that I couldn't go on it, I was terrified of it. I don't know what in my brain, I was a couple years older, but still, I don't know what changed in my brain that made me scared of it.
because babies and toddlers think that they're gods. It's like they really don't know like repercussions or anything like that. Like, and I think that's why, as a lot of people get older, just in life, they become more cautious because they know the real world repercussions of being hurt.
Yeah.
I'm pure speculation,
Speculating. It makes sense to me.
but yeah.
So that's all I got.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that, everyone. 20 minutes into this, and we're finally getting into the episode.
It's good beginning. Good beginning, though.
Yeah, we deviate, and apparently we got Chris's approval. So thanks, Chris.
Yes.
All right, this is season 5, episode 11, "The Speckerman Recurrence," aired December 8th, 2011. Written by Stephen Malaro, Eric Kaplan, and new writer Anthony Del Bracolo, and directed by someone new, Anthony Rich. Opening scene: Penny enters the apartment in need of the new Wi-Fi password. And the password is, "Penny already eats our food. She can pay for Wi-Fi, no spaces." Come on, Sheldon, as if that's ever going to happen. And Leonard is at his computer and he says, "Hey, I have something. Do you want to hear something weird?" But Sheldon thinks it's a game and he guesses, in the year 2000, Pope John Paul II was named an honorary Harlem Globetrotter. And that's my first IQ point. Did you do
I did
anything on
too,
this?
and for me, it's a failed IQ point because I couldn't really find anything except, that happened. What'd you get?
Yeah, I got that it happened. So he received jersey number 75 in honor of the Globetrotters' 75th anniversary. But I didn't really go into why, but like this kind of explains why. I looked into other honorary members of the Harlem Globetrotters. So he isn't the only one. He is one of 9, or one of 10. So there are 9 other honorary Globetrotter members. And in order to become an honorary member of the Globetrotters, one must be recognized for their extraordinary character, global influence, and contributions to society. So I didn't list out why all these people became honorary Globetrotters, but just know that they made a significant contribution to the world. That's pretty much it. So, number 1, in 1976, Henry Kissinger. 1977, Bob Hope. 1989, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 1989, Whoopi Goldberg. 1996, Nelson Mandela. 1999, Jackie Joyner Kersey. And now we're in 2000, John Pope II. Then in 2001, Jesse Jackson. 2015,
Didn't he
Pope
just pass
Francis.
away too?
He did.
He did. It's really sad.
Yep. Pope Francis in 2015, and again in 2015, Robin Roberts. So 10 honorary members.
You know, I was looking for some interesting story, like he was friends with them and he tried to play basketball, but nothing. But you're right that they all contributed to the world in a positive way, and I respect that. I think that's a cool way to honor them, and I love the Harlem Globetrotters. I love seeing them as a kid, so that is really cool, and that must make them. I don't remember hearing about 100-year anniversary, but if this is 2000, then 2025 must have been their 100th anniversary, right?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. I just looked this up not that long ago, so I didn't see any new honorary members. Yeah, only 10. Still.
Only 10?
So yeah, I'm shocked that they didn't do anything for their 100 year.
Maybe they did and we just missed it, but I would expect like some extravaganza because that's 100 years of great stuff. So,
have you ever seen the Harlem Globetrotters?
When I was a kid, I saw them a couple times.
Yeah, it's great. Apparently, Pittsburgh has like a baseball version of that. So it's they're called the Bananas. Oh shoot, what's it called? But it's basically like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
I don't even like basketball.
Savannah Bananas. Yeah.
Savannah Bananas.
Yep.
Do they like spin the baseballs on their head and stuff?
Apparently, they do a bunch of tricks and everything. I heard it's great.
I don't even like
they're
basketball, but I do love the Globetrotters, so it's interesting that I can have an affection for them. But I'd be curious to see the baseball Savannah Bananas.
Anything else on Harlem Globetrotters? Or
That's all I got.
All right. Well, Leonard carries forward and says the real weird news is that Jimmy Speckerman, Leonard's old bully, reached out to him to hang out. And Sheldon tries to figure out which one is Jimmy. Is this the fellow who peed in your Hawaiian punch? Was he the one who wedgied you so hard your testicle reascended and you spent your whole Christmas break waiting for it to come back down? Was he the one who used your head to open up a nut? Was he the one who made you eat your arm hair? But that one was actually Jimmy's sister. Nice family. And they speculate over what he wants. Maybe he wants to wedge the other testicle up there. And they could have just spent the New Year's waiting for the ball to drop. Sheldon has to think about that, and then he laughs. Then opening credits, and we are at the apartment, and it's in the middle of the night. Sheldon
I
is
wanted
up,
to be clear, too, that this isn't a Christmas episode. When they said that, I'm like, oh, is this a New Year's Christmas episode? But it's not. They just were referencing Christmas and New Year's.
Yep.
All right. We know I love holiday episodes, so I was right on. I'm like, wait a minute. No. Disappointment.
No, I know. Just another layer of disappointment on this episode. Well, it's the middle of the night, and Sheldon is on his laptop watching the live stream of Stockholm, the Nobel Prize acceptance ceremony. Sheldon is looking down at all the scientists. Shocker. Leonard is up because he can't stop thinking about Jimmy, as if he should accept the invites. And the last time that he saw Jimmy forced him to floss his own teeth with his shoelace. It's like, damn, that's...
Can you even do that? I feel like shoelaces, like, I guess if you have, like, the
really flat ones, I guess.
Yeah, dress shoes have really thin, but, like, when I'm thinking of, like, Nikes or something, like, they're literally, I gotta shove them in there.
Well, Sheldon's advice is to wear loafers if he sees them. And then he mocks Saul Perlmutter, who he's mentioned before. He's actually when his mom was in town, he went to go see like his presentation or something like that. And now we go to the next scene. We're at Penny's, and we get some short jokes on Bernadette. She's wearing a dress that's actually a shirt. They discuss that the guys are confronting Leonard's old bully. And Bernadette mentions her old bully, Tammy Bodnick. She stole all her clothes from Jim and left an elf costume. And the biggest insult was that elf costume was still too big on her. Amy discusses her old bullies. She says that in the 9th grade, the girls put Rogaine in her hand lotion. Within 6 months, the nicknames began to fly. The one that hurt the most was Gorilla Fingers Fowler.
So did she have hand lotion at school? I was kind of curious about this because I've never known anybody to take hand lotion to school.
Maybe some people just put it in their locker if they have dry skin.
Could be. Makes sense. I was curious about that.
Yeah, I didn't do that as a child, but I definitely have like lotion everywhere. Like even at work, I keep a bottle of lotion at work.
I put some lotion in a little like travel bottle, and I put some on last night, and I don't know how long it's been in there, but the scary part was that once I squirted it out, I don't know what the fuck it was. Like, it was kind of like an opaque, if that's not the right word, almost looked like Vaseline, and it smelled mentholated, and so I thought it was
translucent?
A little bit, like almost translucent, a little bit hazy, but clearer, so more like Vaseline, like when you scoop Vaseline out. It wasn't Vaseline, it was mentholated, a little bit softer than Vaseline, and I know I wrote lotion on the bottle, so it had to be lotion, but I have like 3 lotions I use, and it looked like none of them, so I have no idea what I put on my body. That might be Rogaine.
I guess. Gorilla Fingers Ryan.
Exactly. We'll see. I'll keep everybody posted if I start growing more hair.
Well, Penny says that her school didn't really have bullies. They all got along. Just some harmful pranks. Like, this one girl, Kathy Geiger, got really good grades, so he blindfolded her, tied her up, and left her in the cornfield overnight. It's like, what the fuck?
The fuck?
Girl, come on. You a bully. It's like, no, it was funny. Everybody laughed. Well, maybe not Kathy, since she had corn in her mouth.
I like that Bernadette's like, you might be a felon. Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Well, if we think about like Jimmy too, Jimmy could have easily become a felon too if Leonard actually had like the stones to report him. But I'm sure his mom was like, "Oh, just suck it up."
Yeah, and technically, it's funny because when you write fiction, you put things in your story sometimes that you're like, "Oh, this happened to me in high school," or "This is what we see in movies." But like, technically, if you put your hands on somebody, that's assault. So the shit that we put up with in high school. Assault, and people could be arrested and charged with assault. So, yeah, maybe, I don't know if it'd be a felon, but the stuff that Speckerman did definitely borders on assault, like criminal prosecution, and terrifying what high school kids have to go through sometimes.
Always have a friend, like basically go in like it's the buddy system. You always have to have a witness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it clicks in with Amy and Bernadette that they became friends with a bully. And Penny's like, whoa, I was not a bully. And Bernadette says, actually, you kind of sounds like you were, and probably a felon. And then Amy is smart. She's like, shh, that's how you wind up in the cornfield. And I just love how they just turn to Penny and just smile and nod like, oh, everything's fine. We're okay.
I think that might have been my favorite part of the episode. That's how you end up in a cornfield.
Well, now we cut over to the bar. The guys are waiting for Jimmy, and they keep pointing out other guys at the bar and asking, oh, is that Jimmy? Is that Jimmy? And Leonard calls them out like, hey, why are you guys here? You're not here to support me. You're just here to see if my underwear gets pulled over my head. And I actually like this line. It's like, Howard says, you actually wore underwear? tonight? You fool. Well, Leonard wrote a list of all the awful things that Jimmy did and wants to make Jimmy apologize. Like the scrotum, and apparently he had his scrotum stapled. It's like, dude, that's definitely a felony.
That definitely, yeah. Like, I don't know if that's assault as much as, like, I don't know, attempted murder at some point.
Yeah. It's like, I want to know some more backstory. It's like, Leonard, why didn't you report this?
Yeah. Why did you have your pants down? Although I guess you could have pulled them down, but that's sexual assault too, as not just assault, but
I guess times were different back then. He just took it like a champ.
Seriously. And like you said, his mom was probably like, deal with it, grow up, which we have seen his mom before, so it kind of makes sense.
Yep. Last time we saw her, she called him sissy pants.
Yeah.
Well, enter Jimmy, played by Lance Barber. And he is also in Young Sheldon. I'm guessing you actually saw this in the...
I saw that on his IMDb. I thought that was funny because he's not the same character, right?
No, he plays George Cooper, Sr.
Oh.
Yeah, so he actually plays Sheldon's dad.
Huh.
I know, it's kind of... They must have just loved him as an actor so much that they just wanted to cast him. So it's just, that's it. Don't think too hard. I haven't actually seen him in many other things. He's been mostly in like one and dones on shows. Like his IMDb is mostly just like small spots on shows.
I knew him Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He is not a main character, but he's pretty... Like, he comes back like almost every single season for an episode or two. Recurring character. And I know him mostly from... there's a wedding episode, and he spikes the punch with PCP. And I think some start thinking it's a zombie apocalypse because everybody's high on PCP and they start like trying to eat each other and shit. And it gets weird. But he also has a sister who believes she's a cat and starts getting surgical enhancements to become a cat. And he tries to marry Dee. Like he's an ongoing character, and his life like spirals out of control. Like he starts off kind of like a regular guy, and like at this point, he's hooked on drugs. He's lost his job. He might be living underneath a bridge. Like it's just gotten horrible for him. And like every time he turns up, he's like, "Hey, it's a party!" And like by the end of the episode, he's crying like, "My life's meaningless." I think in one episode he pulls out a gun and he like tries robbing something. Like it's really crazy. I love him.
I don't remember him at all. God.
And it's weird because like
should I watch that again?
Dee and Dennis know him the most, but he becomes really good friends with what's his name? Danny DeVito's
yeah.
Danny DeVito's character, yeah. Frank, yeah, and they start hanging out, and Frank's like, I love this guy, he's crazy. So, but yeah, if you watch that, you'll remember his face pretty intensely just because he's so over the top. A lot of the characters are, but he's great in it.
Well, Jimmy is super friendly, and he actually seems kind of nice. He compliments Leonard, but Sheldon thinks it's all verbal abuse. I did kind of like that, how like Sheldon is so dickish, is like calling him smart. Oh, he's obviously making fun of you. Jimmy says that he read online that he is a physicist at a university and he won a medal, the Newcomb Medal. Sheldon mocks him again. He's like, congratulations on the Newcomb Medal. Please, that's the scientific equivalent of a smiley face sticker on your homework. And Raj gets offended because it's like, dude, I won one too. And it's like, yeah, my point exactly. So I actually do.
I was just gonna say, I thought this is weird too. Like with what I was saying, that the character progression of Speckerman, like he starts off like pretty nice, and it's clear that he's keeping tabs on Leonard's life, and Leonard could have gone the rest of his life and just forgotten this guy, right? And so I'm kind of confused on where things go, because why is he so attached to Leonard? That he seems like a jerk. He seems condescending. He seems self-absorbed, and somehow he's still like really enamored of, like, infatuated with Leonard. And I didn't understand that, and where it goes, like, I still don't understand it, but it seemed like, oh, he was genuinely thinking or confused that he thought they were friends, and he was keeping tabs on Leonard's life. But yeah, so I just wanted to point that was weird because he did seem very, very genuine here.
Yeah, it's a really good point. It's like I can't imagine he reads like Science Digest or something like that on a regular basis,
Yeah,
unless he just happened to have the idea for his app, and then he started looking for scientists and came across him. And
that
was like,
could
hey, I
be.
know that guy. Well,
That
I
could
did
be
a little
too.
bit of research on the Newcomb Medal. I wanted to know, is this real and how prestigious is this? And I'm not sure if this particular one is real because the one that I found is the Newcomb Cleveland Prize of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, the AAAS. And this is actually out of New York. Newcomb Cle- it's the Newcomb Cleveland Prize because Newcomb Cleveland was the guy's name. He created and funded the AAAS anonymously, as it was his belief that it was the scientist who counted and who needed the encouragement and unexpected monetary award that he can give. So the prize value is actually $25,000. So I feel like if Raj and Leonard actually did win this prize, I feel like they would make a bigger deal out of it if there was a $25,000 prize. So I don't think it's this one. So I think in their case, being out of California, them winning it's not real. That's all I had.
Even if it happened before the show started, I think they would still talk about the $25,000 they won. So I agree. It's probably a fictionalized one that's probably lesser because, yeah, $25,000 is, you don't bat an eye, or you don't ignore that, right? It continues giving for a while.
Yeah.
So.
But now we get into the meat of all this. Why Jimmy actually wanted to see Leonard. He has a $1 billion idea. Glasses that could turn any show into 3D. Which would be super cool because we talked about this before. 3D was like the rage at this time.
And which, current events, Nintendo has a thing that you can do. Like if you subscribe, you get access to old Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games, Nintendo 64 games, and like they just added Virtual Boy games. Do you remember Virtual Boy?
Yes.
It was like
I didn't have one, but I remember it.
I had one. I loved and hated it. It sucked because like you had to have your head against like this little unit that stood up on two legs, and it was kind of painful after a while, and it's probably horrible for your vision. But the Nintendo Switch just gave access to those, so you can play them if you subscribe. But they released accessories that you can put your Switch in. One's like a cardboard one, and like you put your Switch in the cardboard and you put your head in the cardboard, and you get to play the Switch, and the cardboard, whatever with the lenses, makes the Switch 3D apparently. However, for $100, they released like a replica of the freaking Virtual Boy that you can put your Switch in, and like I don't know if that's worth $100, but I kind of freaking love it. And I don't know, it's like there's only like 4 or 5 games that you can play, and it's like 8-bit graphics, and it's black and red, so it's kind of hard to see anyways, but it's nostalgic value. And yeah, it's 3D, and like apparently if I don't know how it works. You put your accessory in this, but I guess part of it too is that the content itself is probably developed for 3D, and then the lenses just associate with your eyes so that you see it, and the screen isn't doing anything and the lenses aren't doing anything special because the content's already made in 3D. But anyways, I wanted to mention that because I think it's cool. It's getting a lot of ridicule, but I think it's cool.
Well, it's crazy that like we're gonna deviate now because I actually have a lot to say about this topic, and it happened so organically. But like, like companies earn so much money on nostalgia. And I was actually just talking to Ryan about this, that like the game that I played, Diablo 2, it's actually had this huge update, which is kind of crazy because this game is from the early 2000s. When did it come out? Like 1999 or something like that? I was going to say 1998.
When I was talking to Kelsey, I said 2000, so it had to be 98, 99, right?
Yeah, it was so early, and they did a remastered version, Resurrection, and they actually just dropped this huge update. And it's crazy that they added a new character, a new playable class. So it's kind of crazy that companies are investing so much money into old games, where it's like, wow, there is actually must be a huge following for this game. It's not just me.
Was the Warlock part of the original, or is it like completely new?
I think there was a Warlock in. It's completely new in Diablo 2, but I want to say like they had plans for a Warlock in Diablo 1 or something like that, or there was a Warlock in Diablo 1 or something like that. I don't really remember, but
something
I didn't really play Diablo 1. Diablo 1 was way harder.
Really interesting about Diablo 2 or this update is it, to me, my understanding is that like the game was a remake, a remake, right, of the one from 2000, and they're releasing content that never existed for the original. I'm like, that is, like you said, it's like nostalgia, but adding to the nostalgia, and that's kind of cool.
It is. I love it. That's what I've been playing. Like right before you logged in, I just killed Diablo in hell mode. So
congrats.
Yeah, I've
Take
actually
that,
never.
Diablo.
Yeah, it's funny because I've actually never beaten the game through hell mode. It's gonna happen though. But yeah, nostalgia. We love, like, our generation loves it. Like, bring back all the old stuff. Why not? Because the new stuff is like, it's because I don't have time to learn new stuff.
Yeah.
Like Diablo 4. I'm not playing that because I played it. Like I invested I started playing that game when Hunter was born. So I could literally only play 2 hours a week. That's all I could do. So it's like, I have to relearn this game every week because it's so much to know, and I'm only playing it once a week, that I just don't have the time or energy to just constantly relearn this game. So I'd rather just fall back into something I already know how to play.
It's like I've been playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake a little bit here and there for the past year or two, and I have to relearn it every time I pick it up. And not only that, but I'll be playing and I'm like 14 hours in, 15 hours in, and I just found a new fucking menu with new abilities. I'm like, where did this come from? Like, oh man, like, it's not simple. And if you're not playing it straight through.
It because I was really, again, like, I love the nostalgia. I would rather just have updated graphics for the same game.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit more story, but not like whole new battle systems with complex evolving characters. Yeah.
It's kind of like different. It's the same storyline, but they're deviating in different ways and everything like that. So it's kind of like they are kind of adding new stuff to it. So that's all right. But the gameplay and everything is completely different.
I remember there was, I think it was Chrono Trigger, and it's like one of my favorite games, and it was re-released for the PlayStation with like some animated scenes. I'm like, that's a little bit of a cash grab, but I love it. And then it was released for, I believe, Nintendo DS, and I had to go out and buy that too because like it had like a couple extra levels that like you went through a cave and you had a couple extra levels and it had some explanation and more story. And I'm like, I will buy a game again that's like 10, 15 years old if it has like 2 extra levels. Like, I don't mind paying another $30, $40 for that. So, there's a market there, and I don't think they've tapped into it. They're going for these AAA games that are overly complicated that we don't have time to invest in.
Yeah. But then again, maybe they're just attacking a younger audience.
That could be. That's where the money is, maybe.
Yep.
It's like cereal.
I love cereal. We should just start buying cereal again.
Woo!
It's amazing. You know what the best time to have cereal is? After dinner. Like, as a dessert. It's cool for breakfast, but it's so much better as like a dessert. I recommend that to everyone. Have your cereal for dessert. It's cool. It's sweet. It's crunchy. It's everything you want.
It's got the sugar.
Yeah.
What Calvin and Hobbes, he always ate like sugar-covered cocoa bombs or something. Sugar-covered cocoa bombs. I'm like, yeah, that explains a lot of cereal. Sugar-covered cocoa bombs.
All right. Well, back to the episode. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, but not sorry.
Good tangents tonight. I'm having fun.
Yep. And oh yeah, play Diablo 2.
Play.
Reign of the Warlock. It's fantastic. But all right. Well, Leonard basically says, "Dude, that's not going to happen. Like that's you can't make that happen." And he has a little bit of trouble being direct with Jimmy. So Sheldon just loses his patience and he chimes in and confronts Jimmy for him. And honestly, I kind of like. I know you're supposed to be annoyed with Sheldon, but I actually really like that he's standing up for his friend. It's like, Leonard, you're like, you came here to confront him. We're gonna confront him. We're gonna get this out. I got your back and everything like that. So I know he did it in kind of an ass backwards way, but I do really appreciate Sheldon in this moment.
I didn't think it was that annoying either. Like I respected him. Like this is almost out of Sheldon's character because he's helping somebody else and he's like being selfless about it, even if he's a little annoying about it. So
yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like, dude, you did this to him. He's a person. He's my friend, and you like terrorized him. You're a bad person. So you know what? Respect to Sheldon in this moment. And then Jimmy is kind of just shocked and blown away because he actually genuinely thought that, like, oh, I thought we were just having fun. You know, stapling your scrotum. That's just all in fun and games, right?
You fed into a backpack. How'd you do that? We were a comic duo.
Well, then the guys leave. And now we are back into Penny's room, and she's on the phone. She's calling all the people that she used to bully to apologize. And the first person that she calls, at least the one that we see, who knows how many people she's actually called up until this point, but she used to bully a stutterer, and she's not getting. It's not going well. And Amy says, "I think your mistake is doing it over the phone. If they could only look into your eyes, they'd melt." And then Amy says, like, maybe this isn't working because maybe you need to assuage your guilt through altruism. And then I just like, what's tripping you? Assuage or altruism? It's like, both? And ultimately, it's do something nice for someone. They troubleshoot this. Maybe a soup kitchen. Maybe Habitat for Humanity. Or how about donating her clothes? Which is great for her because she has so much clothes and she has no space. This is going to help her out so much. And then Bernadette's like, you're supposed to be helping people.
It's not just for you. And my IQ point, I'm going to say it later, but it's on donating clothes. So it's coming up. I'm going to throw in a little foreshadowing.
Now we're at the apartment. And Leonard brings Sheldon cocoa and messes it up, but covers it up by saying it's an extra marshmallow for good luck.
And this is where they're playing Settlers of Catan, too, if you noticed on the table.
Yeah. And wow, he's going with a hot cocoa with half and half. That's gutsy right there.
You know, what do they call that with coffee? A breve?
I think so.
I think so. And, like, it's really good, but you're looking at, like, you know, like 500 to 1,000 calories per glass. But
that must be so good, though.
It's
oh my
so
god,
good.
So rich and thick. Oh. It reminds me of we've been reading like around the holidays. We've been reading Polar Express, and one of the best descriptions of like hot cocoa. It was so rich. It was like melted chocolate bars. It's like every time I read that, I'm like, oh god, I want that.
There's a place near me. What is it called? Third Place Books, and it's in Mount Lake Terrace, I want to say. So it's like south of me, somewhere down near Seattle, closer to Seattle than I am. But it's kind of in a weird building, and the weird building has like a weird indoor strip mall. Like it doesn't look like an actual like shopping mall, but it's kind of has an indoor area that connects everything. And the stores are really weird too. Like one was a CVS, one's a 24-hour Planet Fitness. And there's a couple of restaurants. There was a public library in it. The Third Place bookstore is on top, and there's a chocolate store that does like truffles, and they have hot chocolate, but the hot chocolate is like real like melted chocolate, and you get like 4-ounce servings or 8-ounce servings. And it is so rich and thick and chocolatey and full of caffeine that like the 8-ounce makes me kind of not sick, nauseated.
Oh, I
Uh,
bet.
but it is like it coats your mouth and it's just thick and rich and the caffeine kind of hits you, so you're like woo. And they have the option of putting like some cayenne pepper on it, so it's like spicy hot chocolate. And holy shit, it's like my Christmas tradition. The past like 4 or 5 years, I've been going there and getting one, then going upstairs and looking at books while I sip it and get a little buzz. But, oh man, yeah. So if you're ever in the Seattle area, that hot chocolate, I highly recommend it.
Okay. Well, they get a knock at the door, and it's Jimmy. And he goes through the list and he apologizes. And it seems very sincere. Like he really has like a lot of remorse. And then he tries to leave, but then Leonard kind of changes his tune, like, oh wow, he apologized. So you know what? I'm gonna be nice to him. I'm gonna let him stay here. We can't let him go. He's drunk and everything like that. And all the guys are kind of just shocked with what happened, and it really restored their faith in humanity. And Sheldon, being the more pragmatic one, is says, as a symbolic gesture to all the bullies who've tormented us for years, we open our homes to Jimmy, and once he's asleep, we kill him. It's like, I said it would be nice. I'm not saying we're gonna do it.
And that's where I get a point
But
for being like Sheldon. I have said things like this where everybody looks at me and I'm gonna say things like Sheldon, where he suggests as a symbolic gesture they can kill their bully.
have you ever been bullied? I mean, you kind of
have.
mentioned some stuff where the boys were mean to each other for female attention, but once you went to the boys' school, like everything was fine.
Yeah, I was thinking like Penny, like in my high school, like it wasn't everybody kind of got along, and I'm sure some people got bullied a little bit more and there were different reasons for things, but I was okay. And there were people who didn't like me, not even in my grade, like other people who I wanted to fight me, but not bullying level, just they're like, I don't like you, I'm going to fight you. And I don't get that mentality, just some people are aggressive. But I didn't get bullied in high school. In middle school, bullying was rampant. And like people would throw rocks at me. I remember my friend Sho got spat on because he was Japanese. It was a terrible place. And I went to two middle schools because I moved, and that was the one in Pennsylvania, and then the one in Kansas. There were a couple bullies too, but it was weird because I felt like it was just like two kids that were kind of like what's that called?
Instigators?
Instigators, and they were kind of the one-offs. Like everybody else, like there were a couple kids who kind of bullied too, but I think they were just more. They were nice enough, and like I ended up playing Warcraft 2 with them, but they also are kind of aggressive, and you could tell that they were just like macho men who like push each other around. So I don't think they were bullying. It was just their character. But there were two kids who like would call me names and laugh at me, and they were like the one-offs, and they were kind of odd looking themselves. So I felt like they were displacing their own issues, and like they might have gotten bullied themselves by other people. I don't know, but middle school was horribly rough. But I did have to wonder. I'm like, my high school was fine. Am I the bully like Penny? And I thought back, I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think it was a Penny case. How about you?
I was never bullied. Like elementary school and middle school were fine. And then there was this really weird 1 week in high school where I kind of got bullied. It was really weird because it was a guy that wasn't normally a bully. He wasn't like a bad kid or anything like that. But for some reason, one day he just shoved me into like the locker. He walked by me and just shoved me into a locker, and was like, what? That's weird. He's not a bully, and I don't even really talk to him or know him. And then like a couple of days later, I'm playing cards with some friends. He walks over to us, picks up the cards, and just rips him in half, and just walks away. I was like, this is really weird. And then after that, we never had an incident again.
It's like roid raging or something.
Yeah, he must have been going through something, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like I don't know if he was just targeting me or if he was targeting other people, if he was just acting out or something like that. I have no idea. But basically, if I find out that he's dead, I wouldn't care.
Do a little
On that
dance
note.
on his grave. What's on Office where Dwight's saying, ironically, dancing on somebody's grave is great for the flowers and vegetation. It's the best thing you can do. And if you pee on it, it helps give them a little water.
I agree with the peeing. Actually, no, because peeing actually it's acidic.
It's acidic.
And dancing on it, no, because you're crushing it. So I don't believe that shrew mentality.
Dance on their grave.
But yeah, so we were not bullies, and we slightly got bullied. So we're kind of in Leonard's shoe a little bit.
I was going to say, too, that, with this Sheldon point I got, that it reminds me of hanging out with, and you can bleep the name out, but a friend of ours, and I might have told you about this, that when we were in Vegas, Abe and I took a taxi back to our hotel after drinking one night, and apparently in the taxi, and I kind of remember this, but apparently it really stuck out for Abe because he's like, I'm in a taxi with a fucking psychopath. But we were like kind of quiet, and I turned and looked at Abe, and what did I say? Something like, do you ever just want to try to kill somebody to see if you could do it? And it's like, no. And the cab driver apparently turned and looked at us like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay. And I smile. So
Just kidding.
just kidding. I was just wondering. I didn't say I would do it. So that reminded me, and that's why I get the point like Sheldon is because I say weird. I don't know. It's the thought came into my head.
You know what? There actually is a name for that. It's the void.
The void.
It's the same thing as how people have this controllable urge, I guess, because they don't do it, but they have this weird urge to walk into traffic or to jump off a building or something like that. It's called the void, and apparently it's a normal thing.
With cruises, when you look over the edge into the ocean, there's this drawing you want to jump into the ocean. It's like, I don't want to jump 12 stories into the ocean, but I feel this compulsion to jump 12 stories into the ocean.
Yep.
Humans are weird.
Yeah. But, spoiler alert, they should have just killed Jimmy. Well, now we're at the clothing bank. The girls are dropping off Penny's clothes to the donation bin, and Penny is really feeling herself. She's like, I feel like Mother Teresa. And then she takes a 180 and sees some cute clothes and starts to take everything.
I'm curious, Bernadette's like, if you're Mother Teresa, you would have cleaned them first. And I do you think that matters? I'm sure they weren't dirty. They were in her closet. Would you rewash them before donating?
I know they're going to wash it.
Yeah.
We know they're going to wash it, but I would feel like a dick if I didn't. So every time I donate stuff, I wash it first. Just because there's something unsavory about that. Are you saying you wouldn't wash them?
I wouldn't wear it then donate it, but if it's hanging in my closet, I'm not I wouldn't even think about washing it again. I'm like, if it was good enough for me to wash, it's good enough to donate. That's my mentality.
Okay.
But
That's
when they
fair.
brought this up, I'm like, holy shit, am I the bad? I'm the felon. Oh no.
Donating a nasty clothes with diseases.
So I have an IQ point here too. It's about, they do the 3 or 180 and she starts taking the donated clothes and they start feeling kind of bad about it, right? And I did an IQ point because I watched a documentary on clothing, and that clothing and fashion is actually very horrible for the world. Not as bad as AI and what AI is doing to the world, but clothing itself is damaging the environment and screwing up the economy in a lot of ways. It's really weird, but this rang my brain that you take your clothes to those bins and what's the word? They're not going to charities. There we go. You're not actually donating to people. You're not helping people out. Maybe sometimes there's like a percentage that of people you're helping out. But I got some information on this of what happens when you drop off stuff at the bins. And this is different than going to Goodwill, although I'm going to talk about them too a little bit. According to Reader's Digest, Anna de Zauzo, and this corresponds with other stuff in the documentary I watched, and I forget what the documentary was, but there's an issue with the fast fashion umbrella, which is basically clothing fads and trends. And each season saying you have to have this new shirt, you have to have this new style, you have to do this new pattern, this new dress, this new cut, bell bottoms, boot cut. And every season they change stuff out and they bring stuff back. And if you're not wearing what's in that season, you are unpopular, you get bullied or whatever. And they're getting people to buy. And what was the fact I got? I got it from... Oh, later on it said, apparently people are buying 4 times as much clothing today than they were in 2000. And so the capitalism and consumerism in the market has really successfully pushed for buying clothing. Problem with this is a lot of the clothing we're buying is synthetic and plastic, and there's plastic built into the fabric. So recycling doesn't always work. But anyways, many of the bins that look like legitimate charities are actually for-profit textile recycling companies. And you might see this in small print. Some of them might not even have it. I read that some states are actually pushing to ban the ones that are deceptive, or at least fine them if they're trying to fool people into thinking it's a charity. But basically what you're doing is you're giving people your clothes and they're selling them to other countries. And you may have a chance of getting back by going straight to Goodwill, but that may be hurting other, giving to these bins might be hurting other legitimate charities. Only 15% of clothing is recycled, according to this article, and a lot is just thrown away. According to the Secondary Materials and Recycled Textiles Association, most clothing that you donate or you put in those bins is sold at like a fraction of the price, and it's turned into either carpet padding, insulation, or rags. So basically, it could be recycled. There's a good portion that's thrown away. But basically, if you give to those bins, people are making money off you donating. They're not giving it to those in poor, those who are in need. They're turning it into carpet padding or insulation. Or it's sold overseas. And the documentary I watched talked about this quite a bit, where they go to what are called bin down markets. And I also saw the word Mintumba street markets. And they're called bin down because all the clothes are just laid on the ground and you have to bend down to pick them up. And if you see pictures of these, are kind of terrifying. It's just like acres of clothing on the ground. And you walk around to all this old donated clothing that people are buying in these countries. It's like countries like Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, to say the least. And a lot of African nations from the documentary I saw too. Apparently, some countries are actually seeking some bans on these to help, because they're basically killing local businesses. What happens is you drop your stuff off at the bin. The people who own that bin sell it to a company that takes it over to this other country. And the people who own the bin get a couple cents. The people who take it over get a couple cents. And the people selling it cut a couple dollars. And it's cheaper than the local businesses, but it's still like basically they're buying our donations or our trash or whatever we're giving away. And it's kind of, it's weird. Yeah, the pictures, I don't know, bother me a lot. Apparently, 2025. So this is getting to be more well known. Connecticut started issuing fines for owners of these for-profit bins that look like charities. And this article suggested that you might try in-store programs because like H&M, it said as one, and a couple other stores that if you bring clothes in, they might offer you voucher discounts. And you know that it's going to a good place, or at least it's not somebody trying to impersonate a charity. And if you're hoping that your clothes are going to be recycled into new clothes, think twice about that, because chances of it being recycled, like fully recycled into new clothing, are less than likely, since so many of our clothes are made with plastics, and plastics deteriorate, that if they're remade, it's not going to hold up as well, or it can't be remade. Some companies I did read that are trying to go more 100% natural, like cotton based, because that can be remade, but apparently plastic can't. So if you're recycling for that, you have to be careful, because it's probably going to be thrown away, or it's going to be sold and somebody's making money off of you. You're not actually helping the poor or the needy. A better way to help might to be to buy fewer and better grade clothing. So if you want to help the environment and you want to help the world, maybe, again, if we're buying 4 times as many clothes as we were in 2000, maybe we don't need as many clothes. Maybe don't listen to the fads as much. Buy 1 or 2 articles of clothing that will really hold up, that costs as much as 5 to 10 articles. And that way you're helping the environment, and you don't have to donate them, and you have what you need. And I don't know how practical that is, but it's something to consider. Another thing was learning to repair clothing. And with that said, I think you can only repair clothing so much, and it takes a set of skills that I have basic sewing skills. I think I've talked about them a little bit. I can do some patchwork, but I don't know if I know how to sew on a new zipper. I guess I could figure it out, but it's a thing of skills that you have to learn and practice. And when it's taking like 3 hours, 4 hours of your time to learn how to do it, and it's going to look kind of funky versus buying jeans, I don't know how practical that is to learn to repair. Swap, sell, and donate directly, going directly to Goodwill, I guess. Be aware of where your clothing is going and make conscious decisions. So you might be okay with somebody making money off you giving your clothing away. But the thing is that what I was getting at with this is they don't need to be feeling bad for taking stuff either, because it's not going to somebody in need. Somebody's selling it to another country, and all they're doing is saying, somebody meant to donate this, and I'm taking it before you make money off it. I guess maybe that's considered theft, but it's not necessarily stealing from the poor. It's stealing from those who are benefiting from it, or trying to take advantage of the situation. Then I looked at the Seattle Times, and I looked at some interesting information about charities. They talked to the Evergreen Goodwill, and apparently they do, according to this article, the Evergreen Goodwill do fill some shipping containers and send them to other countries too. So not everything you donate stays local. And sometimes they do make profit off shipping stuff that they know won't sell, or maybe they don't have room. So I guess even the charities do it. They also throw out a lot of garbage. Ended up with, according to this article, ended up with about 143 pounds of donations, and 15% wounded up in landfills. So 15% of what this one Goodwill was working with, they said 15% of it was ending up in the garbage. And according to that, it cost them about $3 million a year to dispose of stuff. So there's a big sign saying, don't give them their garbage, that it's better to, I don't know, maybe donate, not donate. They said they're ending up with like single flip-flops, not even 2 flip-flops, just 1. And like that happens a lot, crap like that. So a lot of people are just giving them garbage. And I would say you should feel worse about giving them garbage than taking 2 boots out of the bin. I don't think they should feel guilty about that. And then with that said, that a lot of it's garbage, sometimes there's treasure in there. And I've never had this happen, but sometimes I go into Goodwill's because it's treasure hunting. And I've seen like on Reddit and stuff, people finding these, for me, looking for sound systems and speakers. And the people always say it's usually in very affluent areas of like California, like the Hollywood and whatever, very affluent areas where people really care about TVs and video and audio. They find like these like $5,000 systems going for like $50. And they're like, holy shit. So they buy that up. But apparently a Goodwill in Portland, ended up with a watercolor by Frank Weston Benson. I don't know who that is. In 2006, that sold for over $165,000. A Goodwill in Connecticut ended up somehow with a 1987 factory sealed copy of Legend of Zelda that ended up selling for $411,000. Man, I messed this up. I think it's over 411,000. I think I have 412. I have too many digits in here. Maybe it's 412, 178, but over 411. So yeah, over $400,000, almost half a million for this one copy that somebody just gave it Goodwill. So sometimes they end up with treasures, even though they have some garbage. And apparently, according to this local Seattle store, the Evergreen one, the most they've had was an oil painting and a mink coat that they were able to sell, or that went for about 5,000 a piece. So you can get some valuable stuff, and that may go through, and you're able to get it for a steal, or maybe they sell it and make more money. But sometimes there is treasure at Goodwill. Although, I mean, if you're stealing it off the shelf and taking it with you, I would say that is theft. But if it's in the bin just sitting there, I don't see a problem with that, especially if it's a bin that is just going to be sold and somebody's making money off somebody else's charity efforts. So that's my IQ point, that be cautious of where you're donating. If you just don't care and you're getting rid of the clothes, go for it. But it's not always like, you're not Mother Teresa giving to those bins. You're helping somebody else make a buck.
And let's face it, like donating clothes isn't going to it's not going to move the needle on your taxes either.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, one thing to note, I do like how you made that call out of just buying something quality rather than buying multiple things of crappy. I actually do have a story that just happened yesterday. My wife is in our pursuits to save a little bit of money here and there. She needed some new leggings, so she was like, "Okay, I could buy like $100 pair at Lululemon." You know, it's Lululemon, it's a name brand and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, whoa, I heard great things about this one on Amazon. It's only like $20. And apparently it's supposed to be the exact same thing. So she bought it, she looked at it, she tried it on, it's like, wow, this looks and feels exactly like Lululemon. Like that's crazy. And it was only like $20.
Yeah.
She washed it twice and it's already falling apart. like the threads are coming out and everything like that. It's like, wow,
It's not
this
the
ain't no
same.
Lululemon. It's not the same. So like, she is a big advocate of like just buying quality. Just like spend the extra money and just buy something that's not going to fall apart.
I can also say this is something I'm learning just in the past. In fact, like since I've dated Kelsey, and I think that 5 years, 6 years, she's learning it too, is learning how to wash stuff. And most adults probably know that, but I don't know. For me, washing stuff was throw as much stuff in the, this is coming from my college self, where to do a load of wash, you had to have $2 of quarters for one spin. And then for a spin in the dryer, it was another $2 in quarters. And you usually needed like 2 to 3 spins in the dryer. So you were looking at like for a load of wash, like $10 in quarters. And then keeping $10 in quarters is a fucking pain in the ass. And plus it's $10 as a ripoff. And so I was like, I'm getting as much in there as possible and getting it done. And I'm learning recently that if you wash things correctly, they hold up a lot longer. And so I might have something quality, but if I washed it on the wrong setting, it could shrink and ruin it completely. And I have some sweaters that I love that are quality and expensive, and it's a pain in the ass, but I basically wash them by themselves on cold and then hang them and dry them. And they're holding up for, I'm going on like 5, 6 years on some sweaters I really love, but you have to wash them. I haven't gotten to the stage where I'm dry cleaning yet, because going somewhere and paying somebody money to dry clean it, seems like a lot of effort, but learning to wash stuff separately and how to wash it, I feel like is pretty important too. So quality and taking care of it, I guess.
The delicate cycle is like a game changer on a washing machine.
Right? I didn't even know that was there in college.
Delicate? Oh, what?
I thought that was for panties. I'm like, that's a woman thing.
I know. I was like, oh, someone's delicates.
Delicates.
Your underwear.
Underwear.
But it's like, no, it's just gentle cycle. Yeah.
Right?
Game changer. All right. Well, anything else on donated clothes?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, Penny just starts grabbing everything, and Amy is an enabler. She's like, "Oh, that's adorable," and then Bernadette has to be the grounded one, where Penny's like, "Oh, look at these jeans that someone just threw away," and she's like, donated." She's like, "Totally." And then we cut back to the apartment. And Sheldon wakes up and sees that Jimmy's on the couch, and he wants to put on the record that this is an imposition. And then And then Jimmy wakes up, and Leonard thanks Jimmy again for the apology, and he has no idea what he's talking about. And then once he gets a little bit of context, he just calls him a puss for still being on the topic. It's like, really? You're still talking about this? God, get over it.
Do you think he was talking about from high school, or do you think he's still talking about it from last night? Because I took it as he kind of blacked out and doesn't even remember the apology. It's like, you're still talking about high school, what a puss. Or do you think it was like, you're still talking about last night, what a puss?
I think I took it as the high school one.
Okay.
It's like, really? You're still upset about this? God, just get over it. That's kind of how I took it.
Completely, like, doesn't remember, like, two personalities. Like, it's kind of a complete turnaround, right?
Yeah, it really was. And then he steals his French toast. And then Leonard gets brave, and he says, you know what? I'm going to kill this guy right now. And then he basically tells him to get out. He won't leave, so then he shoves him. And then he flees. And I did a small IQ point, because I feel like he should have been so much smarter about this. Mm-hmm. Because he actually had the law on his side until he assaulted Jimmy. So I looked into like what the repercussions were for Jimmy just being there and not leaving and just being an asshole and everything like that. So asking someone to leave, and if they refuse, that is trespassing. So at that point, Jimmy is trespassing, which in California is Penal Code 602. And it would just be a minor case, a misdemeanor, but Jimmy would get charged up to 6 months in jail and or a $1,000 fine. But refer to a lawyer. Like every state is different. This is just what I found on California. And then it's like, so I feel like he should have just been a little bit smarter and just called the police instead of trying to shove him. I get he's angry and he was like acting out and everything like that, but it's like, oh, you had the law on your side until you hit him.
I was wondering, and again, consult a lawyer, but the two things I had was, I don't think California is a stand your ground state, and that could, if he's trespassing and won't leave and you feel threatened, I think you can't be charged for the assault. I don't know how that would work, but he strong-armed robbed Leonard by taking that French toast. And we're really nitpicking here, but he basically stole from Leonard. So not only is he trespassing, but he stole, saying, what are you going to do about it? That's strong-arm robbery.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
And so if he pushed them, maybe that's assault. Maybe it's stand your ground, saying, I was being robbed and I was trying to push him out because I didn't want to be robbed anymore. So I agree with you that he did have the law on his side. I don't think that it would be as funny or as comical as a show, but I do feel like they could have taken this a different way that illustrated Leonard's smarts and his ability to get back and get revenge without physical violence. There had to be something, calling his wife and saying, oh yeah, he's cheating on you. Or I don't know. It doesn't say he has a wife, but something to really fuck with him.
Yeah. I wish, I mean, it would have been so much more satisfying if he actually got his revenge.
Yeah. To show like, you're not intimidating anymore. Like he might still be running at them and say, yeah, you can punch me, but I'm smarter than you. I can get back at you now. I would have liked that.
Yeah. But I furthered my search about like physical removal of a trespasser.
Yeah.
Because I know every state is a little different. Mm-hmm. And in general, the legal system prioritizes peaceful resolutions and due process. Instead of resorting to physical removal, you are often required to follow formal legal procedures, such as obtaining a court order or eviction notice, or just calling the police and reporting a trespasser. So I know not every state is like this, like Texas. Yeah, that's probably where Sheldon gets his like vengefulness. He is a son of the Lone Star State. But most of the United States, it definitely like it pushes for peaceful resolution, where like if someone's trespassing and you don't leave, it's not the smartest thing to remove them yourself by like grabbing them and like throwing them out and everything like that, because that could lead to other legal issues. You're
Mhm.
generally supposed to call the police and definitely have
And
a witness.
like as civil human beings, we shouldn't be wanting and looking for physical violence. Like we should be saying, I want to uphold the law and civility and law and order, right? Not like I'm going to knock this guy's lights out. That's not like what adults and mature people should want. Not to say we don't sometimes. I mean, even Sheldon's like, let's kill this guy. That's not how far we should go, right? We should say we should handle this diplomatically, because if we don't, things can escalate into chaos very quickly.
Yep. But that's what I had.
Interesting. I am curious about how it would go down in court, especially he's like, but he stole my French toast. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, but he was asked. Yeah, he was asked to leave. He wouldn't leave. He stole his French toast.
I'm curious of where, and this isn't an Office podcast, but I'm curious where the Scranton Strangler is going to go, because Toby was on the jury and he's like, he was an innocent man. And so I'm curious if there's going to be a twist before the ending. There might not be, but
we have a lot to talk. We have a lot to talk about as soon as you finish the series. We have so much to talk about. Well, all right. Anything else on physical removal?
Nope. Good IQ point.
Yeah. Well, now we are at the ending. We are back at the clothing bank, and the girls are on the hunt. And Amy is so excited because there's a fresh batch. And I love Amy in this scene because, like, she admits that she's just leaning into it all. And she just really wants to be in Penny's life. She's like, I'm just gleefully following you into a life of crime. Looking forward to the day where we might be cellmates. Not quite sure what Bernadette's doing.
She got talked into it. Peer pressure.
Yeah. And then they regain their conscience. They put everything back and leave. But Bernadette, she runs back for those cute boots in her size. Because it's all good, because she serves soup to poor people. The end.
I stand by her. She's not stealing from the poor. That's probably somebody making money off it. So, and it could be. It's like stealing from somebody's garbage. It's technically illegal. I don't know. Is it illegal? Like if they put it in the garbage and put it on the street, is it public domain at that point? Because I've heard both ways.
No, because I've heard like you're legally not allowed to like use somebody else's trash. Like you technically can't put anything in, but I guess if you take things out, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not putting it in. I'm taking it out.
But I think like the feds need a warrant to go through garbage, or maybe they don't because they get DNA that way, right? They'll pick up like I remember hearing like a pizza box or something, picking up a pizza box, or like discarded like soda bottles to get DNA off it, because once you discard it, like depending on the trash can, laws are tricky.
It is. But now we're on the Vandy card, and this is a long one, so strap yourselves in. Chuck Lorre, number 369. He was under no illusion that his brain was doing anything other than providing him with illusion. Needless to say, this created a bit of quandary. If your understanding of your environment is based on a funhouse mirror reflection of what's really going on, then every single thought has to be viewed with that suspicion, which created yet another quandary. Paralysis by analysis. What, if any, is the appropriate action one takes in response to a constant flow of cerebral misinformation? Of course, there was always the option to move through the world with great certainty, pretending that his consciousness was hardwired into the absolute truth of existence. The obvious downside in that would be talking and behaving like a presidential candidate. After some time to inaccurately reflect, he devised a scientific solution that he hoped would ease not only his own suffering, but the suffering of all mankind. He called it apologetics. Trademark. The basis for his amazing breakthrough can be seen below in what millions of apologists around the world call the mea culpa triangle. So there's a picture of a triangle, and on the inside of the triangle says apologize incessantly. On the top of the triangle, it says act inappropriately. Bottom left says perceive incorrectly. And on the right, it says think inefficiently. Yeah, I don't get what this one's about.
So basically feeling like you mess up all the time, so you have to apologize all the time?
I guess so. Life is just apologies.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Yeah, that we're flawed and need to apologize all the time. That is again, we're on the thought that he's probably doing this just to give people stuff to think about, even though there's not much to think about.
Yeah. Like, he's just gone off the deep end, and he's just seeing how weird he can be.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck. But I do like that triangle.
We like an illustration.
We do like an illustration.
And we have 4 IQ points.
4 IQ points. And I got 1 point like Sheldon, which makes me 140 to 141. So I was tied, and Sheldon just went up 1 for saying weird and kind of odd things.
All right. Well, any last minute thoughts?
I thought there was something, but again, just saying that I think this was filler episode, and I would have liked something, even if they're showing like how they're overcoming their high school bullies. We are now at season 5, not quite halfway through the series, but far enough in it that we should see like they're smart and capable, and they are flawed, and they will fail, and they will mess up, but able to handle things, not totally like goofballs all the time. And this is a case where I would have liked them. I feel like it would be less filler if they hadn't completely like resorted to violence and then ran away from their own apartment. Like that seemed like forced. Yeah. And I stand up for Bernadette. I don't think she should feel guilty for taking those boots. That's all.
Bernadette can do no wrong.
Right?
All right. Another one down. Thanks for listening, everyone. Again, email us at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com. Raffle's over, but we will appreciate and love your emails. Let us know what you think. Send us some IQ points. And also give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We will see you next time when we discuss Season 5, Episode 12, The Shiny Trinket Maneuver. See you then. This was Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required. Our intro and outro music is by Alex Grohl. Thanks for listening. Spoiler alert, they should have just killed Jimmy.